It's time to start a fight.
It is time to start a fight.
Welcome back, Paragon community. I am joined by Notch and Shane, two of my favorite casters. Love you guys.
Oh, us?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Come on.
That's us.
Yeah, it's you guys.
Me.
He's so kind.
Before we hop into this this first match, I want to go ahead and let everybody know that you can actually, if you link your Epic Games account to your Twitch account, you will be eligible to receive rewards all stream long. We're going to be doing some awesome giveaways, some challenges during these matches. It's going to be really cool. The link will be below or in chat. You should check it out. And you'll be able to get some awesome goodies, some skins, some rep.
Oh, like that skin right
Hello.
there. I mean, come on with the Grux.
Let's go. Gold, black and gold?
What?
Look at that.
Beautiful.
That's yours by just linking your account.
You just do it.
You can get that throughout the day.
You
That's
could just
your
win
thing.
throughout the day.
So
All you have to do is watch.
you just sit down and watch Twitch, and you get skins.
I mean, done?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
I'm
that-
logged in right now
Right.
because I want that skin.
Well, I mean, I forgot to log in.
See,
well then. I mean, well.
You have the rest of the day to log in. You'll have plenty of time.
You guys will be fine. Yeah, so it should be exciting here. We're gonna get into our first match soon.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that trailer, by the way?
Oh man.
I'm ready to fight.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess with me right now. That was that good. I want to shoot somebody in the face with Sparrow. Like, we saw...
Yeah.
So far, the two of the greatest trailers I've seen
Right.
is the initial Paragon. I still get chills when I watch it. Like, every time. That, for me, was almost right there. It was such a strong trailer, and we got to see the mix of everything. You get the CG,
Right.
amazing gameplay. Like, it was fantastic. It was so good.
Oh, that's the satisfying. I think one of you said that that was your favorite shot, the Murdoch.
The shotgun
The
blast
shotgun.
in
Yes.
his face.
It's
When
so
Grux goes forward and Murdoch is just like negative.
It's so satisfying because
Yes.
you're just like, oh nope, no thank you,
That's
the
a
best.
Grux.
none here.
So I have to do this real quick. Today is my son's birthday.
Oh yes.
He turns 4. So happy birthday
little
to Bryce.
little notchling.
Bryce,
A little
there he is.
notchling.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday,
Notchling.
Bryce. I said it. I've
See,
done
look, I
it.
know,
Happy
that's good.
birthday,
Yeah.
son.
There you go.
And we're about to see a really good game, though.
No, I'm super excited. This first matchup's gonna be definitely exciting. Lots of high level play.
Well,
Probably
these
gonna
are
happen.
the comp guys from the competitive scene, from
Yeah.
Aurora's Rising.
Yeah.
We've got some of the best players on these teams right now.
And it's honestly been really cool to see the transition. Like, now that we've gone to open beta, it feels like we've come a long way. And I mean, you guys have been here since like the very beginning.
Yeah.
So like seeing like the those competitive players develop and like seeing all that happen, I'm sure has been really cool.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride, and getting to see these guys come out to Epic and and do this here. Like, who gets to play at Epic HQ? You know, that's awesome for all of these guys. And of course, we get to sit up here and jump into this. And if we take a look at the teams,
There they are.
on Orange Team, we've got Beacon, A-Ray, Spiffy, Kenmore, and J Shreds.
On Blue Team, we got Leo Grande, Be Certified, Cellonk, Fang Rush, and Retrubtion.
Deadwonk all
Oh
day.
man.
No,
All day.
I'm telling you, he is empowered by my spirit in this building.
Yes.
You're tied.
Look at this beautiful
There he is,
human being.
Beacon.
So this is Beacon right here. Preferred hero, of course, it's a Twin Blast.
That's his iconic hero.
Yeah, from Michigan. And if you watch Beacon, you know range carry.
He is.
Look at that
There he is.
beautiful. He's
There he is.
Look at that
excited.
grin.
Smiling. He's
He's excited. He's ready to do this.
He's
Look
ready
at
to
that
try and take
grin,
out his
man.
teammate.
This is going to be, he's going to target Cellwonk.
So
the
you
entire
know
Now,
time.
yes, you know
here's
this.
another great guy, Leo Grande right here. Loves playing that Chimera, another iconic hero of his. He's hailing from New York, coming up from the Northeast there, and again, his favorite role in the jungle. One of the best junglers, phenomenal player. He makes Chimera look so good, and there he is right there, looking focused. To the right of him is Cert.
The Noodle.
He's certified.
The Noodle.
Great guy right there. So, and these two captains come from some great teams, man.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
these teams have some just phenomenal players across the board. We're definitely going to see some high-level play here. Really looking forward, especially since since Beacon and Cellonk are normally teammates. Now they're facing up against each other.
Oh yeah,
I think that's going to be my favorite thing.
And it's one of those things where you think about team setups and like who kind of does what, like who shot calls, like who does what.
Yeah.
Then really like seeing that is what's going to be interesting getting in game.
If I'm Cellwonk, I'm going after Beacon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know we're doing some other stuff. We're giving
Yeah,
away some free stuff.
we actually have some challenges we're going to be doing for each match, as I spoke about it briefly earlier. But we're going to have some rewards for each match if you vote for a certain team, orange versus blue. The orange reward will be a 3-day XP boost, and the blue reward will be a 3-day rep boost. So if you want a specific reward, you vote for the corresponding one by typing !vote #orange or !vote #blue. So go ahead and...
what team is Selwonk on? Selwonk is blue team, so
yes.
!vote #orange. Because we all know Selwonk, he's going to die first. It's just how this works.
I feel like you say that, but he's going to be so inspired by my presence in the building that he is going to...
I think he's going to offset that, for sure.
He's going to perform, and I'm just going to go ahead and vote the opposite and say the hashtag blue.
Definitely.
Well, we're about to find out, because the game's getting ready to start here.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Taking off.
#blue. Ladies and gentlemen, #blue.
I'm leaning towards orange, man. I think orange is going to pull it through.
We'll find out.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see.
So with these competitive guys, these players, Shane and I have casted them a bit. I mean, most of these guys, we've got Kenmore and Spiffy, who aren't on the competitive side of it, but you know they're
right, like
part of the community.
They're active in the community, high
Very
level, like
very high level
players.
players. Yeah,
it's these people who have been around for like such a long time, just mainstays, like just really awesome people that are passionate about what they do in the Paragon community, and that is honestly the best thing to see for me.
Yeah. I'm excited. So don't forget to vote, guys. We're gonna jump into this match here in just a minute. #orange.
I'm gonna say #blue for this one.
I'm #orange.
I mean, Shane and Notch know what's up. I'm sorry, Mooney.
I mean, that's fine. I will continue to convince you guys till you love me.
I already love you.
I know.
Yes, physically impossible.
I mean, look at this. We're in, guys.
Getting that beauty shot coming in.
Beauty shot of
look
the
at that, man. So pretty. Look at that jungle. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first match of the day. So excited to bring this to you guys.
Yes.
Welcome to Open Beta, ladies and gentlemen. Looking right there. Look at Richter. Looks like they're already going right at it here. Right here, the black buff. Chimera going in there.
Into the jungle.
You got to be careful because Chimera's chopping him down, and there's your first blood. So you guys better got your votes in. Retruption on that Muriel. It's like a 1-for-1 exchange thus far. Hook's going to land. Should be able to pick up the kill, but Richter, Spiffy. Everybody watching his elo right there. And that's a 2-for-2 exchange. And the Chimera goes down. Already these guys are going at it, ladies and gentlemen. There's no farming going on in this game right here.
Oh, no.
They went right at each other's throats. And who was it that got that first blood right there?
Hopefully you voted #orange.
Yep. Nailed it.
Throw that out there. So guys, what we're gonna look at right now is the lane game. We're 2 minutes into the game. We did see that early engagement, which can happen. Somebody's going to drop a ward. We see that early engagement. But for the most part, when you start out, you want to get your lane assignments. We've got A right here who's rocking Murdoch. One of our ranged carries. Who is very, very strong ranged carry. He has an ultimate that you can unlock at level 5 called Long Arm of the Law. It shoots the entire map. It shreds armor. And it is devastating when landed. It's a skill shot, and it's very difficult to land.
And there's results.
Here. They went with blue, buddy. But it's an ability that's very difficult to land, but when done properly, it's devastating.
Oh, no, it is. And
hold that thought. Chimera, who is a very early game oriented hero, was going to go in on this Murdoch, and that's just easy prey for him right there, ladies and gentlemen. The rotation. Muriel trying to keep his buddies alive. Greystone's in the thick of it. He's not level 5. He doesn't have that ultimate up yet. But everyone on the orange is pretty low here. And Greystone's just whacking them with that sword, cutting them down like trees. And they're cleaning them up right there. So blue team gets some really important kills. Murdoch was taken out, but more importantly, Chimera, very early game oriented hero. We'll talk about that a little bit when the opportunity presents itself. But he gets taken out. Normally, you want to see those Chimeras securing kills, but a big timing on him is level 5, and he's taking these game damage before he has that big power boost with his ultimate. So he's got to be very careful about that. Make sure he doesn't get too many negative exchanges and get that level 5, and then look for those important kills on your carries, aka Rangers here in Paragon.
I think it's important to draw attention to the fact that in that early game, it might have been a little bit confusing because we kind of came into a lot of action, but the fights ended up happening in a particularly like closed off area, you know, that area between the black buff and mid lane where you kind of have that small pathway. And I think that probably led to a lot of that fighting early on. Both teams like trying to contend for vision like you were talking about, Notch.
That's what it is. You've got such a good hero like Chimera. You want those wards down. Ward, ward, ward. Vision will save your life.
Extraordinarily important.
You have a hero like Chimera that's so good at laning and or roaming, you want to make sure you can see that. And I think that's just what that was. They were putting their vision down.
No, definitely.
And they got caught out.
It was one of those things where you take that risk where you're saying, I value vision over the potential to die right now. And we're going to see if that trade ends up being worth it in the long run.
Yeah. Taking a look at the lanes right here, we see Murdoch, one of his great abilities is his ability to lay down these traps. That is his E for your PC players, or your circle for your PlayStation 4 players right there. You landed them, they snare you up, so it's a good area when you're in a lane with the Murdoch. You want to be looking for choke points, certain areas to put those down, and just pretty much use them as initial zoning tools in the lane phase. That's what you're seeing right there with A-Rate doing that exact same.
So I know mid lane there is a minor skirmish mid lane right now. It's between the Chimeras.
This is interesting. Yeah,
they're just gonna slap. So Chimera has an ability. It's his circle on PlayStation, and is it his
Q?
His Q? No, not his Q. His E.
His E, yeah, on PC.
The regen.
The
regen. Land a basic attack.
Yeah, the more basic attacks you land successively, Chimera will get health regen. As you can see here, you kind of see that number popping up and stacking higher. So the more consistently he hits. So you'll see a lot of these Chimeras like trying to sustain in lane. You'll just see them hitting minions and biding their time for that moment to pounce.
They're waiting.
Right.
Come at me, I'm at 30 regen. Come at me. Let's see if we can handle this now.
In 15 seconds here, we talked about the buffs a little bit. 6 minutes, the black buff spawns. It's in a very tight area. The landscape there's a lot of choke points. There's an open point. There's different tiers that you can get yourself up on. It's always a big early game point of contention. So I do expect to see some amount of contention over in there. Generally, teams don't want to give that up. One of the beautiful things, and here's another jungle buff right here in Paragon, is you have the normal jungle. You come from MOBAs. There's that normal jungling where you get the creep. It's safe means of getting particular hero farm.
Right.
But there's particular buffs in each part of the jungle and each part of the map, and this one we'll talk about. We're looking right at it is the blue buff, and it enables some cooldown reduction. Though in mid lane, FaZe in a lot of trouble, is going to try to buzz around, but gets taken out by that heavy front line. We talked about Chimera being an early game presence. Greystone as well, this double front line with the Greystone and Chimera really paying off in the early parts of the match. So that goes down, and that opens up the map a little bit. Though a little bit too early to start pushing this lanes, unless they do want to look for that black buff going back to it. If they're able to pick it up, it does enable them to do more damage to structures, and that's why it's such a huge point of contention in the early parts of the match.
Right. So Kenmore's got both buffs right now.
Right.
Kenmore's got the red buff and the blue buff. Mooney, what do those buffs do? For a new player who hasn't seen this before, why are you picking those buffs up? What does the red buff and the blue buff do?
So blue buff is going to be giving you...
well, there's actually a tower push.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting super aggressive, like Jaleo and Cellwalk. Yeah. It looks like they filled out a dating profile that told everybody they enjoyed long walks in the jungle together because that's all they're doing.
Yeah, over here in the prime lane, the red lane, they went underneath that tower because level 5 is on live. And you know what I like to say, guys? Level 5, it's time to dive, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. Blue going in force in the front lane. There's that long arm of the law on to the Fate. Reversal of Fortune coming out. Look for that knock-up. Beautiful. That's Paragon right there for you. What a beautiful animation that is. Kenmore's in the thick of it. The Chimeras are slapping each other. There's the call. Damage goes down. But look, Greystone, he has that secondary life, and he's going to come back to life. Beautifully done by the blue team. They get real aggressive on that Tier 1 tower, and this should be the first Tier 1 tower of the match. Right here, 7 minutes, just in about 8 minutes in, so it's going to open up the map. Just great engagement, and that's one of the strengths of Greystone. His ultimate is a resurrection where he comes back to life, and that's what enables him to get underneath those towers.
Fearlessly
and he can take it fearlessly haphazardly, and immediately they transition to the black buff, and they're going to pick that up and look for more.
Without the black buff.
Yeah.
Every time we've tried to talk about buffs, an engagement is started here. So Mooney,
yeah, I can
real quick. Red buff. What does the red buff do?
Damage, and when you hit people, gives you some move speed.
And the blue buff?
Blue buff, cooldown reduction, and mana regen.
And the reason we say this black buff is so important is
it gives you structure damage, where it does a dot of damage over time on the structure itself when you attack it. So it actually is it's deceptively good on fighters and melee heroes that you might not generally see as these tower takers. People will see, oh, the ranger, like, be careful, Murdoch's going to, plow through that tower. But little do you know, Steel is there with the black buff just ripping away your tower. Yep. Chimera is there with the black buff ripping away your tower.
Exactly.
So it's definitely something to be super careful about, especially in the early game when you may not know that 3 pops on your tower is taking it down.
So right now, mid lane here, we've got the brand new hero. The newest of heroes. Not the brand new, but the newest of heroes. The Faye.
Yes.
Faye is a caster / support. She's really strong mid-game. The one thing that a lot of people, if you haven't played or if you've been playing, one thing that people really like this character is her synergy with her kit. She's able to combo with herself. She needs nobody else to combo with.
It helps.
I mean, it helps.
Yeah.
But she can lay down brambles. She has Nettles, which returns mana. She's got her Venus Flytrap. Flytrap, which does all of the pullback.
Yeah.
And you set up huge engagements, but she can just do that alone and deal a ton of damage mid lane.
What she brought to the game is a hero who can really sort of control the tempo in the early parts of the game. We see J Shred's the one playing him out. Level 6 recognizes Selwonk, is really aggressively in the jungle here on top of Kenmore on Chimera. He's got to be careful because the damage that's going to come out will be substantial, especially if the Fae decides to get a little more deep in there and you commit the ultimate. Meanwhile, looks like Retreption, it looks like blue team is engaging over there. They pick up themselves 2 kills. But yeah, the Fae's ultimate, I think, is so strong in the early parts of the match, able to just set up combos, as you mentioned, in herself, but more importantly, other heroes. And it's just complete cascade where if a really good Fae can just take a team fight and just completely swing the tempo into their favor. Yeah.
You got to be careful. Putting wards down, you're trying to get vision, you're trying to be where you need to be. But with these strong junglers, you've got Selwonk, who is playing Greystone, who is very... He's so difficult to deal with.
It's one of those things where I feel like the times I've had the... I would say pleasure, but it was a little bit of a rough going playing against him. It almost seemed he was inside my head when I was in the jungle.
Right.
It's one of those things where he knew where I was going to be before I was even there.
Right. And the way you do no damage to him. He sticks on top of you.
He understands the need for building when he needs to beat. And I think that's one of the, when you were bringing that up earlier, Shane, about the Chimera, kind of the power spikes.
Yeah.
Where earlier on you kind of understand, I have that damage, I need to be a little bit tankier to be resilient in these fights, but like if we hit that level 5, your carry better be terrified because I'm coming for him. Right.
So we're 11 minutes in the game and we talk about damage spikes, but some people may not know what that means. Let's take a look at the card power. This is Paragon's item shop, if you will. This is how you change, make your heroes stronger. We've got heroes right now, they're at 21 card power.
Yeah.
21, 18. I mean, the blue team right now, if you look at this card power, they have a huge lead as of this moment in time. You gain Amber, which is the orange orbs that fall on the ground.
That thought notch in the mid lane. There's a big Retreption got pulled in. Well dubbed by Spiffy. As well as the trap. We mentioned that Venus trap sets up so well. There was a pull by Richter. Richter is one of my personal favorite heroes. He's the proverbial pull here. He's got a great hook. Difficult to land, but when you do land it, it gets a lot of value off right there. Underneath the tier 1 tower, there he is right there. The Warden himself. There is a hook. Not going to land. And we're actually going to have a replay of that last engagement that I was talking about for those who missed it. There's that skewer ultimate into the Fae to keep him under the tower. Beautifully done. Just all about that coordination on those ultimates, and it picks up a kill that otherwise may have not happened if they didn't keep him underneath that tower.
That's a big fight for Orange because they were behind in card power and being able to pick up that kill. So the card power, you're gaining card power from kills, picking up Amber, getting objectives, last hits, harvesters. All of those are important. You want a last hit. You want to make sure rotations are proper, and harvesters as well. Paragon has harvesters in the jungle. You could plant those, and every 5 minutes they fill up. And you can gain 300 Amber for your entire team. And
it's almost a secondary form of like a generation for card power.
Yes.
Provides it to your team globally. What's awesome, like conceptually to me always, even just about MOBAs in general, is that they're an economy game at heart. Like that you're trading economy resources to buy the power at certain points. And one thing that I've noticed about the team compositions, if you look at Orange team, it is fairly carry heavy in the sense that we have this Chimera who's like going to go for those assassinations mid game, and we have they're kind of letting Array and Beacon do their farming, right? And they're providing riskier plays.
There's the harvesters right there.
Like Spiffy, J Shreds, Kenmore going for those more aggressive plays
in the jungle right here. They're going in there, they get caught out. Array's trying to stay in the back line, doing what he needs to. There's that Venus fly trap. Muriel's coming in. Look for the big knock up here. There it is. The Skewer was taken out, but actually interrupted and completely counter initiated by the Muriel. Job well done. Kenmore's about to go down here. Couple more auto attacks. That's just Selwonk in the front lines, cutting him down. He's got that red buff as well, which we talked about. Gives you that speed boost, which is so good on those fighters. Allow you to close that gap. And A-Ray hopelessly trying to run away. Assault the gates is that leap you saw right there. That's Greystone. He just went in there, and he didn't even go down once. The Muriel plus Greystone combination, the uptime that fighter has in these team fights, so Greystone, he doesn't even have any forms of CC. That's not his job. Yeah, that is not his job. His job is, as we're going to see right here in this replay that we have, well, what happened in that fight is that he just is in there and he's disruptive. He's in the face of the Rangers. He's cutting them down. And him as a fighter, he actually scales pretty well. So you got to take him out twice. It's kind of this catch-22. We can't ignore him, but at the same time, if we focus him, we're going to get wiped because we're just going to put all into it.
You're
and
investing
he's
heavily into something where he would
just
potentially come back.
There's quite a few heroes in this game. There's a couple in this match right now. You have a hero like Greystone. You have a hero like Chimera that the first half of the game, they are played differently than they are the second half. First half, you have Greystone is going to build a little bit more damage. He's going to be in your face. He's going to be the aggressor. And same with Chimera. He's going to be the aggressor. He's going to jump in. He's going to want to leap on you. He's going to want to land that call and take out that carry. We get to a certain card power, and that's important. Again, card power is very important. We get to that certain card power, 30-plus card power. Your carries start coming online. And they start building armor, or they start building health, and then a Greystone and a Chimera may jump in, and now they're less effective.
Yes.
Because
their role changes.
Their role changes, right? They're less effective because of the way that the carries have, or the other heroes have started to build.
The dynamic of team fights kind of shifts.
Right, and then you have to switch with them. So you switch your build, and you don't stray away from damage. You still want that. But you start to build a little bit differently. You want to be a fighter class, which means you want to be in their face. You may not deal all of the damage, but you're protecting them from your backline. You're protecting them from your carries who are going to want to deal that damage. So it's a role reversal, and uniqueness with the cards is that I can build one way, and at 30 card power, I can switch that up, and I'm still effective, even though some of my ability damage has fallen off because of the way people have started to build.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Orange...
be careful. There's a call. Goes down about on a quarter of his life, but the hook's not going to land on him. Leo Grande is separated from the rest of his team. He's got to be very careful right there. He needs that Muriel. There's the long arm of the law. It does hit too, but it's not enough to take anyone out, though. He does get taken out. So Kenmore was aggressive. The follow-up not there. The skewer goes out, separating him. The Muriel comes in with that beautiful reversal of fortune once again. Such an effective tool at turning around these team fights. Retruption able to gets taken out. The Murdoch goes down. Richter, he's in the thick of it, but a little bit. He might be a tank, but you got to be a little bit careful about positioning on Richter. Richter is definitely a fighter whose role is tanking damage and crowd control, right? 100%. That's his main role.
Setting up those games. But we're seeing an early Prime Orb here, 16 minutes. So as we talked about buffs, this is what we would call the boss of Paragon.
Yes, there he is right there.
The Prime boss Guardian of bosses. This is the Prime Guardian. We're 16 minutes into the game. They want to take this down because once they kill this Prime Guardian, they've got a couple different options. You can turn this in, and you can make your team incredibly strong, or the person carrying it activates their Prime card, which augments their abilities. It gives them more damage. It makes them just a stronger hero. But we do have a replay here of this last engagement. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look at that. Because it was a great team fight. We saw the
a lot went down. A lot went down very quickly as Chimera jumps in our faces there. So initially it was just a little bit of a skirmish here.
Look at
the
that
fly
trap.
Yeah, the assault the gates with the Muriel ultimate coming out is just a huge wombo. And that's what's been so effective in this game. Saw that move along right there from Murdoch to knock back Greystone, but it was inevitable because again, that red buff on the fighters, you see it on Greystone right there.
Allows him to keep
gives him
on
that
top
speed boost, so important. And Selwonk just continues to get in the front line, be disruptive. And the Muriel, who we've talked about here, but we haven't very elaborate on her. Let's make sure we talk about her.
Look at Leo here. I mean, Leo's he's picked up the Prime Orb. They've secured the Prime Orb. This is the moment for these guys.
The carrier has
when you get this turned in, your team becomes so powerful.
Yes.
This is such a contention point for these guys. I'm going to be interesting to see how these guys, if they march us down the slow lane, or do they use this as a bait?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the play? What's the right play here?
So one thing that I want to point out that, with regards especially to Muriel as well, is in that last fight we kind of saw over by mid lane, we saw two very similar fights happening, where Orange team was playing a little bit more passively with the engagement, and Blue team kind of aggressed on them and almost sandwiched them, you could see there, into the engagement they wanted, where Muriel kind of flew in, knocked him up. Array is caught in between a Murdoch and a hard place, like unfortunately unable to like get out of that team fight or get some damage in. So I mean, it's one of those things where I think Orange just needs to like take the fights they can and really peel for their carries. Like Spliffy's got to be a little bit more trying to peel for them.
There's a new perspective. You guys see that new perspective?
Was somebody tilted?
I think that's the new gameplay.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. Maybe.
So what's your call here, Shane? They've been winning the team fights. They've been.
I think it all comes down to the reversal of fortune on Muriel, who is one of the strongest supports. So this is the prime orb turn, and you see how Selwonk over there on the Greystone going over that area. It's going to be a huge activation, a huge buff with these prime cards. So these blue team, I expect them to see aggressive. The Prime Guardian is the biggest point of contention when it comes to win conditions because it gives you such a huge advantage. Yeah. Depending on what Prime card they have, there's 3 Prime cards right now that you can select when you build out your decks in the menus here. And all of them pretty much equate to if you're a fighter, a damage absorber, a tank, if you will, you want to pick up that extra health. There's one that grants you energy damage. There's one that grants you physical damage. So it's really a means to just end the game. And also, there is another utilization of it, which we'll address here a little bit later once it becomes contextually applicable. But I want to talk about Muriel here because we've talked about the fighters, we've talked about rangers. We haven't talked much about supports. And Muriel here, Fang Rush, has been playing great. And the beautiful thing is that her ultimate reversal fortune is defensively applies a shield, but also offensively. Beautiful hook of the skewer right there onto the mid lane. Coordination on point. Kenmore gets the kill on to the Muriel as we, I guess we just jinxed her right there. That caster curse,
yeah, the
right?
caster curse, right?
Caster curse.
I mean, what's interesting is you saw how much they invested into killing that Muriel and showed how impactful Fang Rush really has been. If we remember back to that Chimera, that early Chimera dive with the double buffs, right. Muriel dropping that ultimate to interrupt the potential counter engage was a fantastic move, and using that ultimate in an aggressive manner is possible. Like you just need to use it to maybe reverse that fortune from across the map. You could use it to aggressively engage on your enemies and get just the CC out of it. You don't need to use it for the shield.
There's really good defense coming out of the Orange team right now. We talk the Orb Prime is so strong. And it enables you to push towers very effectively. Yes, they lost the Tier 1 tower, but they've done a great job defending their Tier 2 towers. That hook into the skewer out of Richter was a huge play, and it actually stopped the momentum for the blue team completely. You feel less secure diving. You feel less secure engaging those fights when a hero like Muriel goes down and you don't have that comfort of the reversal of fortune. Yes. You're not getting the speed from Lacquerty. You don't have her bubble anymore, and you have to play a little bit differently, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing these teams, instead of continue to get aggressive for that Tier 2, they're just going to fall back, and they pick up a tier 1 tower.
Now, Tier 1 towers at this stage of the game, not the biggest deal, especially when you're on the back foot.
Right.
But it's more importantly keeping your Tier 2 towers up here, because when those go down, of course you lose the map control. That goes without saying, right? Yeah. But more importantly, it opens up your inhibitors. And the inhibitors, for those of you that have come from other MOBAs, versions of Barracks, Keeps, whichever one you may be hailing from, but now you're here with Paragon. Good choice.
I mean, look at Iggy, though. Let's talk about Iggy.
Talk about Iggy.
Like, dude, when I watch Iggy play, he's the lane presence, the push, his ability to bully you in lane is frightening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and they didn't even have to worry about the potential of Array maybe getting out of control or being able to take down towers because that Iggy was that mainstay in the lane, being able to come back, circle around, clear out those waves, use those flame turrets.
Right.
It's honestly sometimes poetic in a way to watch Iggy clear waves and like keep the lane. Or at least have that control over the lane, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like he's the conductor, and he's, like, corralling the minions, eliminating them, or just, like, getting them in the right area so his team can capitalize on it.
And what better Iggy player than Be Certified?
Be Certified,
that's his iconic hero.
Yeah, he is
man
so...
Loves
if you guys don't know who Be Certified is, Be Certified has won 2 of the 3 hero races that have come out?
Yeah, he's been killing it on the hero races. Yeah. I remember seeing tweets from him where he's like, I'm ready to go on this one, like prepping.
Yeah.
I got all the energy drinks, man.
He told me he was going to win the next one because he didn't win phase. He said, I'm going to win the next one.
It was more of those like, I'm going to win.
Yeah, he was like, he knew he was going to win.
Yeah.
He knew if he would have slept
an
hour
that's a shout out to all you, any new Paragon players, like get in there.
Yeah. See if you can
give him
be
some
certified.
give him some competition.
Do you know how many Master Skins Be Certified has?
I'm afraid.
All but 2.
Man, what a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
The grind on that is absolutely
that's dedication. That shows like over time like he's got to have like a wide variety, and being able to play that Iggy and pull that out as like that pocket pick is super got to be super helpful for his team for like comfort at least.
Right. So let's summarize what's happened in the past 5 to 10 minutes here. Prime Guardian was taken by the blue team.
Yep.
Then they had to escort that orb all the way to the other side of the map.
Enemy territory.
Enemy territory. Right. It's a very big point of contention. Orange team pretty much just gave it up. They said, you know what? We know we're not in a great spot right now. Let's go ahead, and we're going to make our stand not at the turn-in, but strategically the decision was to let them turn it in and fall under the defense of your towers. They did a great job. So most of the time when you see Prime Guardian, when Prime Orbs are turned in like that, towers just get melted and taken down. But Orange team, despite the fact they're undoubtedly on the back foot, were able to put up a defense. The Prime Orb has fallen off, so those Prime cards are deactivated.
Right.
And now they've been able to stabilize. And there is a sort of silver lining when your lanes are constantly... You have a lack of map control with the opponent always pushing the lanes in, which you talked about Iggy does very well. That means that you have a little bit... When those lanes are constantly pushing in your favor, that means you aren't having to extend on the map. You can kind of sit back on your towers, farm.
Right.
And it can be means to give yourself a little bit more of a pad when you have those card experiences references. But you got to be careful because they're giving up this tower pretty much for free. And I want to chalk this up because they're just blue team outmaneuvering your opponents. A big potential in Paragon is there's so many ways. It is a MOBA. You heard Steve talk about it. It is a MOBA. There's many different ways to gain advantages. Outmaneuvering, outthinking, outplaying is the name of the game. But this is the inhibitor right now. This is a big fight. This can set the tempo. Huge 3-man skewer onto the inhibitor. Who's the inhibitor on? It all depends on who it's on. The Greystone. That's the target you're looking for. Muriel's going to knock him up. The focus right now is on to Disruption, and he does get taken out here. This is not looking good. The inhibitor's still going down, but can they get a wipe here? They lost the inhibitor, but they need to get some kills for this, else this might just be the game right now. Spiffy still alive. He's trying to do what he can to keep his team alive in the hope. There's the call, knocking people away. Greystone's going to jump right forward. Assault the gates is what he's going to be doing. The hook is going to peel. Great peel right there. Yeah. Well done on the Chimera, but the Chimera, he can just sit there swinging his axe. There is that resurrection coming out from Greystone. So, 2 for 1. They lost the inhibitor, but more importantly, not only did the blue team able to pick up the inhibitor, they also didn't get counter-wiped, right? And I talked about there's another means of using that orb prime. This is exactly what we're going to talk about right now, the inhibitors. And now they have to deal with super minions. Very, very disruptive. You lose a lot of map control. If you're able to get that orb prime and turn it in defensively, it turns them back on. Good way to come back. So it's good they didn't lose too many people there. Long arm of the law under the inhibitor. Be certified. Going in there, just using that flame belch, that ultimate from Iggy and Scorch. It's all about that fire. He knocks him back, and now a secondary inhibitor goes down.
I'm loving
all the map control in the world. Yeah. I love it, man.
The aggression coming out of the blue team, they're playing very smart. Their rotations are on point. They knew that they had killed. They knew that they had killed. I want to watch it again because there's so much happened. Let's look at these engagements again. Yeah. So this is under the first inhibitor. You have this amazing Faye ultimate into the Richter out of Spiffy, and you're like, okay, we got this. Muriel comes in with huge reversal of fortune, knocks him up. Beacon's got the ultimate activated. He's able to take somebody down. But look at the damage coming out of Leo. Wipes him.
Yep.
Greystone is so tanky. He stayed alive, died because of his ultimate, came back, and they pushed another tier 2 tower.
It really shows you the kind of the disparity, and when we looked at that card power earlier, it really shows you that disparity showing because despite them having such a wonderful engage with that Faye into Richter ultimate, and Beacon even coming up behind the team, like generally a Sparrow coming up behind your team with the ultimate,
you're in trouble.
That's in trouble.
Man. That's the big flanks.
But they were able
to look at this lead right now.
They were able to immediately turn around. Immediately turn around and just capitalize on Beacon, take him out, and then the rest of the team is just cleaning up.
Right. Take a look at look at the card power difference right now. When you have 24 card power against 51 card power,
at 51 card power,
uncertified, and you've got 48 card power, you're going into that team fight. You're on the back foot. They needed those inhibitors for the defense, and the blue team was confident in their abilities. They were able to jump in, and they knew what they needed to do. They focused that tower down, because they know they had the damage and they had the tankiness.
Cutting back Prime Guardian. It's back on the field here. And the first time it was taken, it cemented a lead. The second time, this might just cement the game if they're able to turn this in. So it's a matter of, okay, if you're the orange team, you're on the back foot. What can we possibly be doing here to get ourselves back, stabilize, get ourselves back, and figure this out? And I think that the main thing is here, if you take a look at the minimap in the top right corner of the screen, you see that blue reticle. That is where the blue team is looking to go and turn that in to activate that orb prime. That right there, that area so many times, for those of you who haven't seen other tournaments, other events, or played the game, is generally where teams make or break themselves. If orange team can play this decisively, not only do they have to play immaculately in order to get themselves back, they are now at a point where they're so far behind on card experience, it's almost up to blue team to make a mistake as well. But if that happens, they can pick up that orb prime, turn it in defensively, inhibitors back online, push out some lanes, get some tower, regain map control, all comes down. But Selwong already getting aggressive. Here comes that aggressive, once again, reversal of fortune, knocking him up, immediately takes out Sparrow, the most immobile ranger in the game. You can tell they're utilizing that. And that's out 2 down already. The Orb Prime hasn't even been turned in here. Down goes the front line. Richter's not there to protect his back line anymore. And that's disastrous. The desperation from Kenmore. He's using the coal. He's trying to keep it. But there it is. The Prime Guard has been turned in. He's going to fall 4-0. Plus the Orb Prime being turned in here. I feel like it's just a matter of time before the core push goes. And this should be blue team.
This should be the blue team right. When you see that decisive team fight, and there's no inhibitors. All they do is push the core.
And it's the confidence too of being able to say we can forego turning in this Orb Prime and just take the team fight because we know we can still win.
Right. And that's the lead of the card power. The blue team played so well early game. They played so well with that jungle rotation. When you have a hero like Chimera, you have a hero like Greystone, it's about those rotations.
Hello, Steel.
That transition, though.
Oh, my.
It's about those. A little bit. I thought it was coming at me.
For those of you watching in 3D, probably should come to your seat.
But it's about those early games. It's about the rotations. We saw great rotation coming out of Greystone, Selwonk, and Leo on Chimera. Yeah. We saw the fantastic rotation. They were able to pick up those early ganks and really start giving their team the lead that they needed. That when you start getting into those major team fights, you're confident that your front line is going to be able to do what they need to do. And as a ranged carry, I get to sit back. And we saw them farm throughout the match. There were really not much contention when it came to the orange team being able to free farm, which is always a bad thing, by the way. If there's a ranged carry, don't let them free farm.
Yeah, generally good rule of thumb not to do that.
I'm the jungler, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, but that was due to the rotation of those two players.
Going more on your point, that early game lead transition is such a large card experience lead, and this last team fight, and as I mentioned, even with the right play,
so telling.
It just, these Rangers of Sparrow went down, Beacon on that Sparrow went down immediately. They immediately rotated to the other carry. They took out the 2 prime carries, and at that state of the game, whoever was calling the shots on blue team probably just went up, GG. The moment you take out those Rangers like that, it's such a... Then the late game, that's pretty much all the power. Your insurance policy is no longer there, and they get taken out. And that's all because of that card experience lead. Inch by inch, that card experience lead, whether it was because we're getting aggressive in the jungle, we were getting towers. Towers do grant card experience as well, or getting those kills every now and then. The first part of the game was just skirmishes going down, pickoffs and pickoffs. Not a lot of 5v5 or anything like that. But when it came to the 5v5, because they were coming out ahead, they already had a big, huge advantage going into that.
And it was just picking off those early kills that allowed them to get ahead, and Jaleo and Selwonk really pushing that, you know, we are going to use the aggression we've gotten early, like with our kills and these items, to be able to actually like push these towers down, get that map control, and be able to out-rotate the team really.
Right.
And I remember you were, Shane, you brought up about the Orb Prime because Orange, honestly, I think the only chance they had getting back into the game would have been that defensive unit. If you want to, I don't know if you wanted to talk about...
So you talked about it so eloquently, Notch.
I do?
It's just so eloquently.
So, why, like Mooney just said, that last play, that Orb Prime fight, what do they do different? If you're the blue team and you're down...
I think it came down to positioning. They need to position themselves further forward. That area around where you turn in that Orb Prime is there's many different means to flank and things like that coming from the jungle. But if they position themselves a little bit farther forward, they don't have to worry about that means of them getting kind of flanked around. They can establish a better zone in that area. But they were pretty much underneath their tower. They're lying a little bit too much on their tower here. Taking a look at this replay, I mentioned those early game skirmishes. This is exactly what I was saying. And this was just great utilization of Greystone. Again, he doesn't have any means of CC, but he can just get in your face. He can block those auto attacks. They took that skirmish, picked up the bluff, and immediately started going under the tower. It just was one into another, into another. The moment they got that momentum, they never let it slip away.
They never.
Now here, Spiffy, I got to say, on that Richter, he played a great Richter this game. He was landing hooks, he was landing skewers, and of course, anytime you play a pull hero, it's all about getting people under those towers. There's another hook he lands immediately into the skewer, the follow-up from the Chimera, the long arm of the law. But as you can tell, when you're behind in a card experience like that, they just use 3 ultimates for 1 kill. And the skewers are always on point for Spiffy. But when you're that far behind on the card experience, it's just so difficult because you have to put so much into taking out one priority target. They kind of get rolled over after that point in time. And I feel like that was the story of this game for the Orange team.
They had moments, though. They had those, I mean, when you look at these highlights, they had these moments of like, oh man, they could turn this around.
Yeah.
But it was just...
It's capitalizing on those moments, right? Yeah. It's like taking the moment where you get that 1 kill, you get that one-off kill, and you can really take it as far as you can.
Yeah.
right? And I think there's a lot of those moments where you kind of want Orange Team's like, hey, maybe you were talking about with that Prime fight, maybe if they don't take it a little further up, they take it closer, they try and cut them off at that pass they are forced to go through.
I think that was the best
right in the jungle.
Yeah, because you have you have the fail, you have the Richter ult, you have all of those AoE of Sparrows shooting the tri-shot at them. Like, that would have been the best possible fight they would have gotten, or if they wanted to fight that.
And you win that team fight and turn around and dunk it defensively.
There you go.
Your inhibitors go up, like you said. That's the big thing with that.
Yeah.
Your inhibitors respawn, and it's a hard team fight, but when you're that far behind, that's the team fight
risks
you have
you need
to take.
Yeah.
There's no other option other than to fight that and try and stop Greystone, because you're right there, and then you just turn it in for yourself.
Yeah.
So, really good match.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was it's really impressive to kind of see how different players mesh with each other as well. Like Selwonk and Jaleo meshing really well in that jungle, kind of finding their groove and their own style.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw a lot of people falling into that. Oh, I'm gonna farm for a while, but then you fall into that trap of I'm farming. You know, how are we growing as a team?
Right.
Economy wise, and you saw like they spread the wealth.
Right. So we did the beginning.
Yes.
Hashtag blue. Hashtag orange.
Yes.
The blue team fell. Was it first? Was it Beacon that died first?
I believe so.
So it wasn't Deadwonk?
It was not.
I am disappointed in that.
You're disappointed in him for
he didn't
die.
I'm disappointed he didn't. I have watching Selwonk play for as long as I've watched Selwonk play. I feel like he let me down personally. I feel like he let me down personally.
He let you down personally by not dying.
Right.
I see.
Right. I'm upset that I said something and he proved me wrong. Is really what it comes down to.
I think a lot of the what happened with the blue team there is Selwonk being a phenomenal jungle player, a phenomenal fighter player. Put that guy in a melee hero. That's his comfort zone.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And then Muriel, which we talked about, the reversal of fortune, where Muriel, when you first look at her intuitively, you say this is a very defensive support, right? But all that game is Greystone just getting in the backline, using Assault the Gates, leaping in the backline. Again, no form of CC, right? But when you draft accordingly, you can kind of counteract that
Rely
with
on
the
your
weaknesses.
teammates as well.
Again, Paragon's a MOBA, that's one of the beautiful things about it. And using the defensive hero of Muriel almost offensively to offset the weakness of no sort of crowd control on the Greystone was just consistent means of initiation. They got into the backline, they were able to dive towers, and that right there, I feel like, was the foundation of their strategy. They executed appropriately, and was all downhill from there. Yeah.
I really want to coin a term for that team composition. I feel like it was like the leapfrog team, where you kind of
you
had Greystone jump in, tank the tower, Chimera comes in on top of him, Muriel comes in on top of him.
Oh my god.
Right? It's like they're almost all leap. That's what I saw in that one. The one engagement on the tower is you saw Greystone come in.
Oh my god.
Leapfrog.
That's so. We're using that.
Right.
I'm stealing that from you, Mooney.
I mean, that's fine. Of course it's yours.
That's so good.
Of course. Anytime.
Thanks, buddy.
We actually have our next match coming up. We're actually gonna our comp team to face off against each other.
Yes.
So that should be fun. I know a lot of those guys are excited to just tear each other apart on stream. Yeah. So that's
gonna be good.
These guys literally get paid to play the game.
Yes.
Competitive.
So they know what they're
I was
doing.
one of them, but I'm washed up now. I'm all old and washed up.
I remember I miss the old Mooney.
Yeah, I was fiery, but you know,
you were, man. You had a big
spicy
game.
I'll regale you with stories when we get back. We're actually gonna head to a break here, folks, but stick around.